figured it was time to make an appearance. Hi. Yes, I am alive. I have been getting a lot of messages like, where have you been? How come I don't see you anymore? I'm just tired, honestly, and I'm just busy. Hi. It's September. Holy crap. It has been a year. Good year, but a year. So many things, so many crazy things, and still a lot going on. So, I'm here to fill you in, and I'm here to chit chat. I have a bunch of little chores here in front of me, and so that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm obviously working. It's the work day. Every day is a work day when you're a small business owner. Obviously, if I'm not working, nothing's getting done. But I have a bunch of little chores here in front of me, so that's what I'm doing. I wish I was sewing. I did actually sew a bag the other day, which was exciting, for the first time in forever. I sewed up a little Fiona fold over from Lynn's Handmade, so that was fun. I forget how much fun that bag is. So I did that quickly, and I'm going to be sewing up a couple of other things here pretty soon, but I gotta get my little chores done. So anyway, howdy, how are you? Hello. It is, gosh, I don't even know what day of the week it is. It's Wednesday, I'm pretty sure. And it's stormy outside here in Texas. So I think that is from that tropical storm that is hitting like the Gulf and Louisiana area that's showing up, because it was bright and sunny, not a cloud in the sky yesterday. This is the first like full month we've been home and not at a show in, I don't know, 1100 years. That is why I look so tired, because I am tired, and like I'm fine, but when you just like go, and you get used to that pace, and then all of a sudden everything kind of stops, and not stops, but like we're not traveling. So now all of a sudden I'm like, what do I do with myself? I have a million things I got to catch up on. So that's what I'm doing. And so it's like, it's been a lot of like little home maintenance things from, changing the air filter, like a billion little things like that. And then like, I haven't been here long enough to stop and look around, and I'm like, ooh, the front yard really needs to be like taken care of. I need to like whack all that down and do all, just that, like oil change in the car, all those things. So finally I'm home to like do that kind of stuff, but now I'm like, I need to like get my poop in a group is really what's going on. So between like business stuff, personal stuff, and then just all the things I'm about to tell you guys, and I just realized I left some stuff in the other room as per usual. Hopefully soon that ceases to be a thing. I'm doing a bunch of stuff right now, laying the groundwork to have all of the business stuff in one spot. So it's just more work, but that would be spectacular too. But, so I have a couple little things to talk about as far as business wise. There's a bunch of stuff going on in the background right now that I can't tell you guys about, which is also really difficult. Corey and I have been discussing, I told him this is like one of those years, I feel like it's the year of investment. I don't know if you've ever had one of those in your life at some point where you were basically spending all of your time doing all of the groundwork, for like way later. And when you're doing it, it's exhausting, and it's kind of mentally taxing, and you just feel like I'm working so hard and I'm not getting any benefit right now, right? And it's that. Like, it's one of those times where you're just putting in, and you're mostly what you're getting out of it is being tired and like sometimes financially broke, sometimes just like physically exhausted, mentally exhausted. Like it's just, you're putting all of it in to get back out later. So that's what this year has been, is like laying the groundwork for later stuff. It's all like the slow burn, long game. I have to, invest now and kind of get this all set up so that then I can do the thing. And so that's what this has been this whole year, and that's what's really going on right now. And it's hard because it's like, I want to tell you guys all the things, but like a lot of them I can't. Some of them are my things, some of them are things I have going on with other people. And a few of those things are about to like, bloom, or however you want to say that, like they're about to be sort of like revealed, and I don't get a choice about, telling anybody. Like I have to keep the secrets. So, this summer has been a lot of that, like laying the groundwork for all these things that are about to come out. And so it's like, yay. And then some of them are kind of surprise things that I wasn't really expecting, or they were just kind of told to me, and it was like, oh yay, like that's cool. So yeah. And on the grounds of what I have going on here, like I was just saying, I have I'm going to need to whatever. So let me backtrack here. Most of you know that I run my small business out of our house, and it has kind of taken over our whole house. So when we built this house, we started building in the very end of 2019. And life was very different then. I, A, did not have this business. B, at the time, I was just making custom bags for like commission. And I would go to festivals with like my made items and sell those. Had been doing that for a long time. And that, that was sort of it. I was just sewing stuff. And then, pandemic hit. We moved into this house in the middle of the pandemic, like July of 2020. And so it was like the weekend after 4th of July, maybe 2 weekends after. And things were crazy. And so like when we built this house, we had a very different mindset. We were living in Dallas proper, so really expensive area to live in. Like, you get a 1 bathroom, like teeny tiny little house for very, very lots of money. And we were like right on the border of like the super like nicest ever real estate and like the super sketchy, like don't go that way because you'll probably get like unalived while you're over there, legitimately. We would hear like we were on one side of the property, like you could more easily hear gunshots. I mean, it was a tiny property, so kind of an exaggeration, but it's like that side is like the sketchy, like, oh, okay, everybody get down. And then if you leave that way, you go to the grocery store and you park next to like Lamborghinis and like Ferraris and stuff, in your like regular person car. So it's really weird, but we loved the area. Just, it just didn't feel super safe, and you couldn't get a lot for the money. So, we needed more space just in general. And so we came out here to the sticks and, built this house, and then life changed overnight, as you guys know, in 2020. And then, later in like 2021, life changed again when I decided to like officially start this business. So great and wonderful, but we didn't build any of this with any of that in mind. So what we did build was a large sewing room. Well, okay, the room that I'm standing in right now is just a bedroom, but it's on the larger side now. It was supposed to be different when they framed the house. They messed it up, and we didn't know until we got all the way to like drywall and like way down the line that this room is like 5 foot smaller than it's supposed to be, which really sucks because you guys can't see it. But on this side of the room, this is the short wall, this is the short wall, and then this is the long wall, and the one behind y'all is the long wall. So the long walls are really nice, except for on the short sides, there's a big closet over here that's 2 double doors, and it takes up like the whole wall. And then, and it's a long skinny closet, but it's not very deep. It's technically walk-in, but like if you walk in it, I mean, you're in it, like that's it. So it's like 24 inches deep. It's kind of a, they're like, oh, it's a walk-in closet, but it's like, what are you walking into? You could just reach and take your stuff out. Like it's whatever. So it kind of is awkward and takes up a lot of space in this room that's now smaller than it was supposed to be. And then you have the door to the bedroom that like swings in, so you can't use like any of this wall space. And then on this side, because of the elevation we picked, there's 2 windows there, and that's really great. They go all the way to the floor, literally. They're like this far from the floor, and then they go, up really high, and there's a really awkward little space in the middle that's never quite big enough for much of anything. Like, it's not big enough for like a TV. It's not big enough to like hang really anything except for a piece of art. Even when I had this room prior, when we first moved in here, this room was my sewing room. Um, and you couldn't even fit like a shelf there. It was just really awkward. And the windows go out to the edges. So like, unless you cover the windows, which is what I've done now, I have inventory all over here. You just can't use that wall either. So you get 2/3 of this wall, but then you have to stop pretty much past this rack right here because the door comes in. And so it's just a really weird space. There are so many things you don't think about when you go to either like move in general or build a house, but when you're building and they just give you a floor plan and say like, here, have this one. And they even had us walk another person's version of this floor plan. There are so many things that you miss and don't think about. It's so different than touring an existing house where people have like furniture and it's big open spaces and it's finished and you can like see it. So mistakes were made, and then mistakes were made on the part of the builder, and you just don't know until you get typically too far down the line. And if you want to change it, they're like, oh, well, we'll charge you $10,000 to fix our mistake. So, you know, like when this room ended up being way smaller, it was supposed to go this direction by like 5 feet. And so these walls were supposed to be much longer so that you could use, you know, more of the space. And so anyway, now it's basically the size of a normal bedroom, which is fine, except for even as a bedroom, you can't use any of that wall and you can't use any of that wall. And so you could basically put a bed and like a small desk in here somewhere. And then you got to leave one of these walls blank for like walk around space, you know, to get around. So that being said, I've been using this room as the inventory room for this business, because when I started it, I didn't anticipate the blow up, right? I just did not think that it was going to be what it's been, which is amazing. Like, it's a huge blessing, but it's also in a way, in this specific way, a curse, because I put it in this room and now I am like super maxed for space. This room also has a barn ceiling, which you guys can't see, but like if you're looking at the room, it goes like this and then it comes down and then it goes like this. So just above this, which I'm 6 feet tall. So this is like, oh, I'm 5'11". So this is like 2'6'3", something like that. Just above here, like 1 foot is the top of the ceiling where it starts to curve in. So I'm up at the ceiling where I can be. It's an uneven barn ceiling, so it's higher on that side. And I have like 8-foot tall shelves and then stuff on the 8-foot tall shelves. So anyway, it's very organized. It's very clean, but it's like room of requirement, like all the way up. So that being said, on the other side of the house, here's what ended up happening. We built a room off of the living room, which is really large. They bill it as like a media room because we didn't build custom. It's like semi-custom it's not really custom at all, but they allow you to make changes if you pay for it, which is what we did. Anyway, on this floor plan, they had 2 extra bedrooms over there, and we said, can we cut the wall out between them, move the door, whatever, put double doors on it, and basically make it like a separate living area. And the reason we did that is because this floor plan only has like a mixed kitchen and living room, and there's literally no definition between the two. It's just a big space, and then everything is on the perimeter of the house, like all the bedrooms, bathrooms, everything. And so, which we also neglected as an aside, like we just didn't realize this because when you're building, everything is open. It's like sticks. There's no windows in my house. They're only in bedrooms. And as a person who really likes the outdoors and natural light, I don't love that, but you miss things when you build. So think about that. If you're one of those people in that situation, it's so much easier to see when you're touring a real done house that you're like, oh, there's no windows in here. Literally in the main area of my house, it goes from the front door, there's a long skinny hallway, and then it opens up in the back to like the bigger area, which is kitchen and living room. And that's all there is. There's no other common spaces in this house. So there is like a dining room kind of, but it's off that long hallway and it's just part of the hallway. And it has no windows either. It's like dark as a cave because the only thing at the front of the house that has the windows that's in a common space is the front door, has glass in it. And so light comes that way when the sun sets on that side. And on this side, there's 2 windows in the living room. That's it. And then a door next to that, which has glass in it. And it's just like a standard, door with like a cutout, and it's under a covered patio. and the sun rises on that side. So sun goes like this. You just don't get a lot of light in here. We put in a lot of lighting, which is good because I'm in electronic, whatever light all day, artificial light. So anyway, we built a room off that back room. It's my large sewing room. I had previously told you guys that I wanted to redo that room. It wasn't originally my sewing room. It was this extra living area. When we moved in here and realized this room was much smaller than we planned and realized, there was an oops, because we had planned it all out with like furniture and stuff. So we knew something's wrong here. We're missing like 5 feet. Anyway, my husband was like, well, I was going to make this like my kind of game room, man cave, extra living room, media room kind of thing. And he was so kind enough to be like, I'll just take your room up in the front because I don't have a lot of stuff. And then you can take the back room. So that's previously been my filming space and sewing space. And it is a large room. It's like 20 foot long by like, I don't remember exactly, like 12 foot wide or something. It's just a big old rectangle, and it doesn't have a ton of doors and stuff like this room. It has one window, and it's a big expanse of walls. So that being said, that room is my sewing room, and y'all know when you have a large stash of stuff in your sewing room and all your equipment, I'm so overwhelmed even thinking about moving it. But because of some of the really big things I have going on and being maxed for space in here and all the new stuff I want to bring in, I have to swap. There's just no bones about it. And I'm also not sewing as much as I was because I'm focusing on this. So I'm still going to have a sewing space, but we're going to move it back to this little room. This ended up getting painted this color because it was my husband's like game room thing. It's just the last 4 years since moving into this house have been like, and y'all can probably relate. I think we're all kind of going through the same thing in maybe different ways, but that same roller coaster of like, every time I think I've got stuff like good, a thing gets thrown in. And then I'm like, but wait, I just moved it. So I'm going to move the sewing room back up here. I'm going to parse stuff out. If you're in my Facebook group, get ready for some massive destashes because I just have a ton of like vinyls and character prints and custom wovens and all that stuff. And I have got to parse down. I love this stuff, but I'm just not going to have time to use it all. So, and it's just a lot. So good things, but I'm like massively overwhelmed with the thought of like, ooh, how do I do all this? So anyway, that's what's going to be happening here soon. I'm obviously not going to redo that sewing room. I'll be redoing this room a little bit. We decided that this closet, is big enough that if I just take the doors off and we put them in the attic, that'll kind of turn it into like an archway, and that can become an extension of the room. So I'll be gaining like 3-ish feet doing that. And I'm going to put shelves in that. So right now there's just like a bar hanging in there. I will take everything out, and then, take the bar off and all that. And then I ordered some shelves, like, closed on the bottom with drawers and just like open on the top. And those are going to go in there. And then I'll just swap out the light fixture that's in there. It's one of those like boob light fixtures. So I'm going to put one in there that hooks directly into that and has like a track on it so that there's a little more light because it is a closet. And that's where all of like my fabric and small notions and stuff will go. And I'm hoping by doing that, then out here in the room, I can basically have room for my one desk that I use for like all the machines. That's the one y'all typically see me film at when I was filming videos. And here's the thing, I hope to get back to filming videos. I really loved doing it, but we haven't been home this whole year, so that's why I have not been. But lots of changes in 2025, I'm hoping. So it's like, okay, we gotta get stuff together. And so it's the year of investment. Like I was kind of saying at the beginning, you just put in, and lay the groundwork for later. So hopefully, you know what I'm getting at here. So maybe you can relate. I think the last time I had a year of investment was about 10 years ago, probably. This year is our 10-year wedding anniversary in December. And that's been another thing going on. I mean, not to do with the business, but a personal thing. My mother-in-law and I, last year when I was at their place in Arizona and I was having all this dental stuff done. She and I, she's a big wine person. Y'all know that. We would have wine at night. And we started sort of planning this party for like the 10-year anniversary. And then, it was kind of just not a joke, but like a joke. We were just talking about it like, oh, lots of people have, passed away and moved, and life has changed a lot since we got married, and we should do something for our 10-year. And then it just kind of morphed. And then she was like, I want to host a party. So she's hosting a big old party for us. Basically all the same wedding guests that are, still in our lives and around, are invited. And so we're just having a bash, like not really a wedding, like another wedding reception almost, I suppose, but more fun, which ours was really fun, but more fun. So, we're doing that in December. And the last time I had this much investment in life, like just pouring in, that same year we got married, we got engaged. And then out of nowhere, my husband sold his company, that he, owned in his job. And that was in Arizona. And then, we moved here to Dallas right in the middle of planning our wedding. So I had already signed a contract for a venue in Arizona, and then we moved here. And then I was like, oh my God, what do I do? Then we had to, get rid of our house there and move cross country, sell all of our stuff, do all that. And then, and we were pretty young at the time. And so we were like, what do we do? Like, where are we going? We didn't have like family or anybody here. So we just did. We just moved. And it was a lot. And then we had to find a place to rent. And then we had to find a place to, buy. After that, we ended up renovating that house from top to bottom. That's kind of what we used to do, not like flipping, but just renovating for ourselves. And that was a big year. And so I feel like I'm having another one of those, but this time more unplanned. I planned the other stuff kind of like it happened and I just rolled with it. But this, I keep going like, oh, okay, another thing. All right, I guess let's do that. So it's been good. It's just been a lot. And we've been really business focused and show focused, which has been amazing because that means we get to come out and like see you guys, meet you guys, see faces we've already seen, meet new ones. And so that's been huge. By the way, I'm using a paper cutter. You guys can't see it. And so that's been really great, but we just have not been home. We basically come home. We're here for about 2 weeks. It takes me about 2 weeks minimum to prep for the next show. And then we leave and do another one. Or we do, maybe we're here for 4 weeks or so. And then we got to get all of our personal stuff done while we're here. And then like we rush off and leave. And then between, we did the Okla cruise earlier this year too. So we left for that. And there were a couple of other events that weren't shows, but we left for those. So, and now we're leaving for December because it's been a couple years since we've done like Christmas. So we're going to go out for the party and then we're going to just stay there and hang with my in-laws and all the rest of the family and do Christmas and come back like right before New Year's. So that'll be fun, but like we're going to be gone again. And I keep telling my husband, we got to make a change in 2025. I can't do this. Like, I barely have time to grocery shop when I'm here. And I can't keep up on like house stuff and lawn stuff and, home maintenance. So, yeah, I missed my house. Somebody asked me a little while ago, oh, what are you going to do this weekend? And I said, enjoy my mortgage. Like, I have not been in my house. So, yeah, lots of stuff. As far as business things I can tell you guys about, soon I can tell you about more of them, but not yet, unfortunately. And it's not my choice, I'm sorry. But, so this has been interesting, which doesn't necessarily apply to some of you, because I know some of you are like not bag kit people. I know if you've been a bag maker for a long time, you're like, oh, I don't want a kit. I have all my own stuff. I have a stash and I'll buy, in bulk or whatever, I'll buy my pieces. But a lot of y'all are newer to bag making as well. You're newer to, discovering this scene PDF bag making. You're new to finding me probably at a show. So, we are doing bag kits now. So that's been fun. I've been sitting over here making bag kits. We're starting with the Lynn's Handmade bag kits and rolling out pretty much all of her patterns. And we are doing something special with her on her website, through her website and my website, where basically if you go to buy a digital pattern from her, it will ask you, do you want a bag kit for that? And then that bag kit is drop shipped to you from me on behalf of her. So you buy it there. You get a bundle discount for doing that. So that's kind of cool. And then the hardware kit is just sent right there to you. And it's like a one-stop situation. So that's been cool. We have silently rolled that out. There has not been an announcement about it because we've been testing and experimenting. So we're doing that. And it has been going well, but that is live now for a couple of patterns, and I will continue to slowly roll out more patterns and bag kits. And then as soon as we kind of get that really dialed in and we're for sure like good on it, bag kits will become available on my site as well as a separate listing. So if you're a bag kit person, you can come buy bag kit. I will be offering the bag kits in all 7 of my color collections. So we've got rainbow and rose gold, silver and gunmetal, light gold, antique gold, and then matte black. So I'm just slowly getting all the stuff together for that. Things that are coming, I launched matte black as a collection, color collection for hardware, like, I don't know, 6 months, 8 months ago. Time has no meaning at this point, so I can't remember honestly, but this year sometime. And so I am bringing in more pieces in matte black. Yay! Because I know you guys, you love the matte black. I wanted to kind of see how that was going to go. And it's been really good. So I have more pieces in matte black coming, your foundational pieces like D-rings and inch and a half, like Tri-Glides lobster claws. But I am also officially announcing, this is the first announcement of this, yay! You guys have been asking me for smaller hardware. So for a long time I've carried 1 inch, an inch and a half, and I had very little 3/4. But I am officially bringing in 5/8 inch hardware and 3/4 inch hardware. Yay, surprise! So there'll be like, this is purse weight hardware. It's not embroidery weight hardware. So it's just like my other stuff, but sized smaller. And yeah, that's exciting. So all of your quilt shop patterns that you love and adore from once upon a time that were calling for that smaller hardware, you will now have that. And then smaller stuff, just smaller bags, cell phone sling styles and like really little ones, wallets that call for small hardware, you'll have that. And it's bag weight. It's not the really thin wireframe embroidery weight. It's the thicker, chunkier style, like a real, bag weight. So it's on its way. It's not launched yet, so don't get too excited, but it's coming. It may not officially launch until like the very end of the year or possibly in 2025. Depends on how quickly I can get my stuff together, but that's coming, which is yet another reason. Those things right there are reasons I got to move to the other room. In this room alone, for just a little bit of the stuff in here, not everything, there's over 30 linear feet of shelving. And I'm going to need like probably 30 more. So that room will be able to house that. And that would just be nice. The other thing that's coming up, which I know a lot of you are really excited about, if you're in the Facebook group, you heard this already, but just to officially announce it, this month, September 20th through September 30th. So 10 days. There is a pre-order for 2 things. One, it will be for all of these colors of handmade webbing that you guys love. This is the 1.5 inch size. And then I will be launching 5 new colors that I'm adding to the collection. So obviously I have these ones you see here. I'm currently missing navy. It's down here in my chores to process and get up there. That's what I'm doing right now, actually, is cutting the papers that wrap around the webbing. So I am launching 5 new colors of that. And in addition to the extra colors of 1.5 inch, I am launching 1 inch handmade webbing. I know you guys have been asking for it for a really long time. So it's coming. It's really just a space and like logistics issue is the problem, because it's only me here. I do have some, I wouldn't even call her part-time because it's not even part-time. It's like 10 to 12 hours a week, maybe. Help. She does come, but she's in college. And so college, I'm really specific about that. I'm like, school takes precedence. You got to make sure you're focusing on schoolwork. And so she comes and she helps, but she really just kind of like processes this type of stuff. she doesn't, do all the stuff that I do. So, it's helpful, but it's, difficult to get more done when it's pretty much just me. And then when we're never home, that also doesn't help. So we've loved doing all the shows that we've done this year, but next year, we're only picking about 3 shows, I think. 2 reasons. One, we have a really big trip planned. This is just a personal thing, but we really want to tour the East Coast. So we're starting in the Midwest, I think. We haven't finalized, but we're starting in the Midwest, and then we're going up and then over and then back down through the South and here to Texas. So straight up and then over. My main goal is to be in, we'll probably leave here in like the middle of September-ish, and then head over to like New York, Massachusetts area, Maine, Vermont, all of that. And we just want to explore all of those places because we've never been. And so we'll kind of camp out and, spend 3 or 4 days in a place and kind of see a bunch of things that we see. And we have some people on our list that we're aiming to see. And yeah, it should be fun. And the in-laws are coming. We're going to caravan. So they have an RV as well. We're going to take the 2 RVs and we're going to go do that. And so we'll probably be gone for like 30 days. And that'll be interesting. But because of that, I want to have everything established and taken care of here. And then hopefully not, shut the site all the way down. I haven't figured that out yet. Part-time help, she's gearing up to fulfill orders while I'm gone. So we'll see how that works. You always make plans and then they never really go, So there's that. And then other changes in 2025, the amount of shows. We cannot sustain the amount of shows we've been doing. And then likewise, there are some teaching engagements I am doing. So that's fun. They're more private teaching engagements. They're organizations and guilds and places that have reached out to me and said, hey, like we took a class with you somewhere, this person took a class and they loved it. Like, can you come and teach for us and do a workshop? So I have a couple of those set up, and so I'll be gone for those. And those are short things. Not quite as much prep as like a show requires. So that'll be good. But yeah, we're going to do like 3 shows. I haven't exactly decided which ones they're going to be. And I'm waiting to for some dates to release on some of them to figure out where we're going to be. But I'm kind of aiming for that to be my max, just because it's like, it's a lot. Additionally, other changes that we're hoping for in 2025, you guys know I've shared a bit about our infertility situation, that we're just we're diagnosed mystery infertility. Like, they don't know what's wrong, and on paper nothing is wrong with either of us, but it's been literally decades. My husband and I have been together since we were teenagers, and nothing has ever happened. But according to every clinic and doctor we've ever seen over the course of the 10 years of our marriage, they're like, there's nothing wrong and there's no reason that like this shouldn't be working. I don't know. So we've done some treatments in the past. We've been actively seeking treatment and testing for many, many, many years now, and just kind of keep trying to figure out answers. But we finally were just like, okay, like we're getting too old for this. And every test turns up nothing. Every test turns up, you're so good, I can't believe you're not pregnant yet. If I had a nickel for every time somebody told me something similar to that, some doctor or clinic, I'd be able to pay for this IVF outright. So it's like, okay, stop telling me that. Like, there's just, I get it. They only can do what they can do, right? But like, it's so frustrating. So anyway, we have officially started down IVF. I know a lot of you have like privately reached out to me. We've talked about, your situation, my situation. You're asking questions and following up and checking on me, which I so appreciate. And I'm a pretty open book about 99.9% of things. So I have no problem sharing about this stuff, but I know it can be hard. It can be hard to hear about, especially if you're going through the same thing. So you're not the only one. I'm here. I'm here with you. I've been here. At this point, I feel like I'm the chairman of the club practically. It's a frustrating and sad experience, and can be overwhelming, and financially it's overwhelming. It's so expensive, and when we originally looked into doing IVF like 5 years ago, we were like, well, we still don't know what's wrong, so we don't want to pay for that. But we did look into it, and the pricing it was already high to begin with. It has absolutely skyrocketed. So we're currently going through that, which is just another one of those things. Year of investment. We're pouring in to hopefully reap the benefit down the road. And so I'm on my 2nd month of hormone shots and pills and the whole, if you've ever done IVF, you know, just, I literally have a Sharps container like sitting here in my house and a huge box that's literally like this tall when you stand next to it off the counter, and it's like this big, that showed up. That's all this medication, and my fridge is full of medication. And yeah, my house has turned into like a little bit of a science lab. It's crazy because you have to, mix your own shots before you take them. Like, it's so crazy. And Corey's been amazing about it. I cannot give myself the shots. Kudos to those of you out there. All I keep thinking about are people who are diabetic. I cannot, my brain, the first time I went to do it, I was like, yeah, I don't have a fear of needles. I can give myself a shot. No problem. I can give myself a shot. No big deal. The needles are fairly small. Some of them are bigger, but they're not like huge. They're, normal. But your brain, like you're like pinching your skin, you're looking, you're going to do the shot, and you're like, oh, okay, I'm ready. Okay, go. And your brain is just, it's so weird. I don't even know how to describe it. It won't let you. It's just because your brain is like, no, bad, ouch. Like, don't do that. No, bad. Don't do that. It's like a self-preservation thing. I tried really hard. I was like, no, I can do this. Like, I get shots all the time. I get blood draws all the time for thyroid stuff. Should not be a problem. I'm not scared of needles, but doing it to yourself is so hard. And I literally stood there. I was like shaking my hand. I have the little thing and I'm ready. And I'm like, oh, okay, just push the plunger. Just put it in and push the plunger. Like, you can do this. No, I could not. And to the point where like my hand started like shaking as I'm holding it. And I'm going, okay, I can't like make myself do this. And he said, well, do you want me to do it? And I said, yeah, I think so. And one of the shots does burn really bad. The other ones, I don't feel so much. They're not, I wouldn't call it painful. It's just unpleasant. It's a shot. But one of these, oh my God, it burns. Like, the needle hurts when it's going in. And I looked last night at one of the shots compared to the others, and I'm looking at the needles and I'm like, this one is barely bigger. It's not longer. It's just slightly fatter, the needle. But we're talking like a hair, like 2 hairs maybe. It hurts. It hurts going in. It hurts when the medicine's going in. It hurts coming out. Like, that one is no joke. But the other ones, it's not great. We did our math wrong one of the nights. So instead of, we thought there was a different amount in one of the tubes than there was. It's hidden in like a pin. So you kind of dial it and then inject it. And we dialed the wrong amount. It was just silly. So I ended up, instead of 2 shots that night, I had to take 4. So I was like, yay, let's not do that again. But it is what it is. When I went through IUI, years ago, we're doing IVF now, but, when I did IUI, everything made me cry. Like, I'm not really a crier, and I wasn't for a long time. And I cry now more than I ever have in my life. Not now because of the hormones, but just like last year that kind of started. I guess I got in touch with my emotions or something. Just from everything that happened. So then I cried more than I've cried ever. But the only other time I can remember anything like that is when I went through IUI. And I can remember standing in my kitchen and there was like commercials and stuff on, and they were not sad. These were not like ASPCA commercials. Okay. Not the sad Sarah McLachlan crying ones. These were like normal commercials, like a little kid riding a bike, or like a kid with a balloon or something. A person like sitting on a park bench, and I would just start bawling. Like, I would be in my kitchen and it got to this weird point where like I had no control. I would see something that wasn't even sad, like a pillow on my couch, and I would just cry. Like, And I wouldn't even be sad. I wouldn't even have a sad thought that I would be thinking, but I would just be crying and I would just be trying to like wipe it off and I couldn't control it. It was horrible. I got to a point where I was canceling things. Like I'd have an outing or somewhere I was supposed to go to and I just had to say, I'm sorry, I can't control myself like anywhere. And I really don't want to be in public like this. And so y'all have fun without me. Like I'm just going to stay here. So I was very afraid that was going to be happening to me this time. But it's not. I'm totally fine. I have been totally level-headed. I was very prepared for like mood swings and I was afraid that the hormones were going to keep me from sleeping. Realistically, I've been more tired and slept better than I did prior, I guess. So that's good because I'm so tired at this point. I can't have less sleep. So it's been good. Like physically I'm okay during the day, but like 8:30 at night, I totally hit a wall and I'm just like ready for bed, which is terrible. Because any of y'all that know me personally, you're like, everybody calls me an old lady, which is true. Like realistically, I know that. That's been a joke my whole life, even prior to entering the sewing situation. When I was a kid, all I ever wanted to do was like learn old lady hobbies. And there were always jokes that it was like I was born shaking my fist and telling kids to get off my lawn. When I was in my 20s, like my favorite thing to do was, not often, but I would do it every once in a while. I'm a big Scotch person and I've kind of lost a taste for it. I think because my palate has changed, but I was the only 20 something that I knew that loved smoking cigars and drinking Scotch on the rocks. And I still like Scotch on the rocks, but just less often. But that was my go-to. Forever and ever, I used to, if I'd go to like a wedding at a nice place, I would always skulk off from like the dancing and all that stuff. And if it was at like a nice country club or a nice hotel, they usually have a humidor full of cigars and they typically have a really nice bar. So I'd go get a really nice glass of Scotch and a cigar and go find like a terrace somewhere and sit. And like, that was just my thing. That's my jam. And so all my friends used to be like, why are you like a 20-year-old female trapped, or like a 64-year-old man trapped in the body of like a 20-year-old female? I don't know, but I kind of was, still am. So anyway, and then, yeah, I'm a homebody. I love to putter around the yard. I love gardening. I like baking. I love sewing. So I'm just a little old person. And I have always, I could stay up late, did a lot in my 20s. I worked in restaurants. I was up till 5 a.m. all the time. Worked in bars, last calls at 2. You didn't go home till 5 after cleaning and all that, typically. So that was normal also for my 20s. But now, ever since, I don't know, hitting 28, 29, and now I'm in my mid 30s, 9:30 is my bedtime. But the problem is now with these hormones, like 8:30 is my bedtime. I barely make it through dinner half the time at like 6 or 7. And I'm like, can I go to bed now? I'm sleepy. So yeah, it just is what it is. I'm going with the flow. Year of investment. And shout out to anybody else who's out there having a year of investment in 2024 too. However you're investing, whatever you're doing, because these years are hard. You feel like you are pouring so much in and you don't see the reward immediately. So it's like business-wise, year of investment, personal life, year of investment, real estate and my house and whatever, year of investment. I'm not doing anything fun. It's all like repairs and maintenance and, just like the not fun adulting stuff. So yeah, but it's good. It's just different. So I'm over here like, I don't know. I finally feel more adult, I guess. I don't even really know how to explain that because I've been an adult for a long time. I've been on my own since I was 17 out of my family's house. I was living on my own before I graduated high school. So I've been an adult for a long time, but this is the first time I really feel like, oh, maybe this is what it's supposed to be. Just boring, home maintenance and bills you don't want to have to deal with that like aren't for anything fun or cool. So yeah, it's good. But shout out to all of y'all who are going through the same stuff I am, because it's just not fun. It's still a blessing, just not fun. And that's okay sometimes. I guess we need some of that. I see I have a chats enabled on this one, so any comments, shout outs, questions, concerns, y'all can feel free to, I can see them. I just haven't been looking. So I think, gosh, I don't even, oops, is that the right one? Yes. I'm labeling some materials, by the way. So if you hear crinkly bags and things, like I said, I got chores, little chores to do. I have a restock, by the way, of, I think I technically already restocked it on the site, but I'll have to check it. This is Fantasy Shimmer, Foggy Blue, and Ocean, both. And those ones have been really popular. Sorry, I'm trying to do it quick. They've been really popular. They're super pretty. The Fantasy Shimmers in general have been really popular. Let me show you why. I just got this bag sent to me. I bought it. Mary, y'all might know, she's on the strike team for my materials and stuff. Mary, she made this bag, totally gorgeous. She posted it online, and I was like, Mary, I have to buy it. Are you selling it? And she said yes, and I said I have to buy it. This bag, y'all, is gorgeous. Look at this. So this is the Fantasy Shimmer in Blush. And she cut all these little scales on, I think she used like a Cricut or Scan and Cut, I think, or Silhouette or something. Oh, so pretty. And so she did the puff vinyl, the chevron puff vinyl on here in, this color's currently sold out, by the way. This is the Slam and Salmon iteration, and it's on its way back. There's more coming. I'll have a restock. I currently have the Sunrise, I think is what it is, the pink and yellow version. But like, oh my gosh, this is just, it's phenomenal. Isn't it so good? She did so good. So, rose gold hardware. These are the heart, dangle zipper pulls, which I love. I just gotta, the big reason, you guys know I like beefy hardware. That's my whole thing. I'm not a dainty person, all right? Like, I'm 5'11", I'm broad and wide, even at my thinnest when I was like a size 6, size 8. I have a very athletic build. Like, I'm just chunky. I grew up on, biscuits and white bread and whatever in the South and gravy and, whatever. So even when I was at my most athletic, like, I have a thick body. I'm at the heaviest now I've ever been in my life, but even still, like, I got muscle when I'm not even working out. It's like, where is this coming from? I should be all fat at this point. Anyway, I like chunky stuff. I got big hands. I need a zipper pull I can like get to, I got to be able to grip that thing and go. So, I like my big webbings. I like my chunky hardware. I like my chunky zipper pulls, and I really do love some blush pink. Blush pink is my favorite collection, by the way. So, anyway, she made this all out of blush pink stuff and, my big chunky beefy hardware, and I love it. And she just did a spectacular job. I can't wait to like wear this bag somewhere and just pet it, because this is like a sensory, it feels so good. So I said I had to buy it. I bought it to display in the booth and just take around and whatever, but I really just love it. She did such a good job. And this is the second person, technically third, who's made a bag out of this chevron puff vinyl, and seriously, it's really good. It takes interfacing amazingly if you need it, with a heat press or an iron from the backside. And if you just use a little bit of a cloth or whatever, it wrinkles press out nicely too. It doesn't wrinkle a lot when you birth it. So I'm loving it. I just made the Spyro iteration. I made an H2O to go out of it. Didn't interface it. Waterproof canvas for the lining. I love it. I love it so much. So here's hers, a much more structured bag, and there is like some tissue paper in here, but not a lot, because I'm not even squeezing real hard. And it just gives. It just gives. I love it. So anyway, I'm restocking both of those in Foggy Blue, and then I didn't open this. Sorry, crinkles. This one is the Ocean Blue. The lighting in here is not great, and when they're just in rolls, it's so difficult. But trust me when I tell you, this Fantasy Shimmer, you can see this one is more gray. This is the foggy blue. This is ocean. It has more green. They are different. See? They're different. But the Fantasy Shimmer is so flipping pretty, and it sews up like a dream. So you can see how much of a life it takes on when you sew it into something and how much the colors really show. She also used the Sun-Kissed Coral thread. You guys see that? It practically glows. It's so pretty. I also use that thread and I love it. So I'm restocking those. I do have to label them because I can tell the difference, but I'm a fan of redundancy and like labels and stuff so that when I pull y'all's orders, I don't screw them up. Same thing with all those bag kits I was telling you guys about. It's so hard to look at a bag kit and be like, what are you? Are you for the H2O? Like at a glance, you're looking at it. So I have labels. I've been sitting around labeling and making kits and doing all of that. I'm excited to do bag kits. I know some of y'all are team bag kit. Some of you are not. That's okay. I'm catering to both. Individual hardware is not going away. I'll still have my same individual hardware. And then, like I said earlier, if you missed it, I'm officially announcing on this little broadcast here, 5/8 inch hardware in all 7 color collections, and then some 3/4 inch as well. Hooray! And I am rounding out a couple of other things I'm bringing in, which are new pieces entirely, rectangle rings in like more of a beefy style. So I carried the wire style before, but it'll be like this style. So rectangle rings 1.5 inches and 1 inch in the beefier style, which is exciting. And also circle rings, O-rings 1.5 inches. I'm trying to think. I know there's a couple of other styles of new hardware. I don't know. I just ordered a whole bunch of hardware, and so it'll be here soon. But I got that going on. Just lots of new stuff. It's hard to keep track of all of it until it sort of shows up. Should be here any day, by the way. I think Friday. And if and when it does, I'll post for you guys the ombre thread. Yay! Ombre thread in 3 colors. I'm super excited about those. They're fully custom to me, like designed and colors picked by me. All of the ombre threads are named after songs. So I don't even know what I am, Gen Z, millennial, whatever you want to call me. Heart is very excited because music is a big thing for me. I have really eclectic music taste all the way back from the 50s to like some now, but less now. Most of it's like early 2000s. And so, but I listen to everything in between. And I listen to a lot of jazz too. So and like lots of styles too. Rock and roll, jazz, pop, I don't know, lots of stuff. So all of the ombre thread will be named after songs. So that's kind of fun. That's like a fun little Easter egg. If you see the color names on the ombre threads, you're going to be like, oh, and my hope is that like I capture the colors right to evoke like the song, and then you see the title and then you kind of know. So, lots of fun stuff with that. The 3 that I have coming are, so I've got a Christmas one coming, but it's not your traditional Christmas. It's what I refer to as like a vintage Christmas. It's instead of bright reds and bright greens, it's more like spruce green and like a creamy gray white instead of a bright white, and maroon instead of red, mixed with a little bit of like spearmint and a little bit of like a, different red. To me, it feels a lot like the like when you go vintage Christmas shopping in like a thrift store or like an antique mart, and you see like the different colors. Things were different. They just used different colors. And so that's Last Christmas by Wham. And so that's that color that's coming. It's 5 colors. And they just, bleed one into the other. I have that in text 45 and text 70, so I'm very excited about that. And then we have my fall color. I didn't want to do your typical Halloween. I'm sure at some point I will. But this one is called When September Ends. Technically, the whole song by Green Day is Wake Me Up When September Ends, but I couldn't fit that. So it's just When September Ends. But it's like navy, mustard yellow, a rusty orange, maroon, and a brown. And it's like, think about the most fall scene ever, like Pendleton wool like throw over with like a hot cup of coffee and like mist around, and it's a very like fall transition. Hopefully that didn't disturb you guys. Sorry, I got a phone call there in the middle. So anyway, yeah, that one I'm really excited about too. Also Text 40 and Text 70. And then the next one for spring, it's spring, summer. I'm kind of trying to plan ahead on that. But it's really good for anything. It's like, I would kind of call it, I don't know, it's very neon, like very bright, cheerful, happy colors. It's like a cerulean blue, a hot pink, a bright green, a bright yellow, and I believe an orange, if I remember right. And that one, this is a deep dive into music. You would have had to have been the right age, right in the mid, like early 2000s, I guess, probably 2001 or 2, I'm guessing. The band, or the group, I should say, it's called the Venga Boys. Who remembers that? And the song title I'm using for that one is We Like to Party. I very vividly remember this song for multiple reasons. My sister was really into electronic music, and she was older at that time. I was in like elementary school, and or like middle school maybe, but she used to play that CD a lot. It was very popular at the time. And also they used the song on a Six Flags commercial. So if you lived anywhere where they had a Six Flags where they were advertising, this was the song they used. Do you remember the weird little bald man with the glasses? He looked like a turtle, and he was driving a bus, and he would like pull up and open the door on the commercial, and then people, it was like, come on, like come to Six Flags kind of a thing. It was the song from that commercial. So if you remember that at all, it's a very weird song. It's got like kind of like horns, and it's like Tejano music and pop music had a baby. It's a very weird vibe, but it's like a fun, goofy song. Anyway, I'm sure I'll make some reels with the songs for you guys so you can get it stuck in your head forever. But those are the 3 ombre threads I have coming, with more coming in the future, but those are the starters. And so I'll be adding some solids next, and I'm kind of going to jump back and forth between those to sort of round out my collection. So yeah, lots of new stuff, just new stuff, old stuff, all the things. I'm gonna hop off camera really quick. Oops. While I stock these in their little bins. So we have new templates coming, which I know I've been promising templates for a while. Just once again, it's really hard to test stuff when you're not home. Whenever I make templates, I use the pattern makers designs, obviously, but I do end up redoing those pattern pieces a little bit depending on what I add or what I change. And that's all fine and great, but it takes testing. I'm not comfortable just like throwing templates up on the website and then selling them. I could totally do that, but I don't want to. It would be faster. I totally know that, but it's just not something I'm comfortable doing. I want to make sure that as a bag maker, these templates are the way I would want them to be. I like having them to be a certain style and way, and I do get told by you guys all the time, which is so funny to me. But, thanks for the feedback. I get told, oh, your templates are so much better than so-and-so, than that one shop and whatever. And, not that I'm not in competition with anybody. I'm just trying to make them the way I want to make them. But, there's kind of a reason for that. Good things take time. And I do go through, I'll literally make the templates the way I think I want them to be. And then I cut out a bag with them and then go, oh, I didn't like that, or this isn't the right thing. I need to change it. And so I do that a couple of times sometimes, and it just takes time. So I appreciate the patience. There's a reason why I've had a bunch of files sitting like ready to go, but I haven't been able to test them. So now that we're finally home for a whole month, I'm able to do that, but I got a lot of catch up to do on a lot of other things. So that's just where it stands at this point. I kind of keep laughing about it because it's just, I think about how much we've been gone and how, difficult it makes life in some respects to just like not be living in your house practically. Okay, sorry, there's going to be more crinkles. Ready? Okay, not so bad. Got a couple orders to pull here as well. And I think, gosh, I'm trying to think of all the things we have coming up so I can tell you guys about stuff. Florida folks, we know there's tons of you guys in Florida that, you know, shop from me and follow me and come and see us at the shows and all of that. We're going to be in Orlando area in Lake Nona, October 18th through the 20th that weekend. So I will be vending. Lots of other folks will be vending too. This is I'd say a more intimate event. It's not going to be small necessarily, but there's not going to be like 80 vendors there. I think there's like 10 or so vendors with additional teachers who are going to be there, myself included. I'll be vending and teaching. So if you've been wanting to take a class, then that would be a good opportunity. Lindsay from Lynn's Handmade is going to be there. So she's coming down. She's teaching the Fiona foldover, which great bag. And the kits for that will be, I'm excited for them. Mostly because they're all of supplies you can get at Emporium Threads, so that'll be fun. And so that kit is exciting. It's cool and a little spooky, fun October feeling style. And then I'll be teaching the Julicita crossbody bag, which is a really fun, like, you know, no frills crossbody bag, but it is a lot of fun. It's a perfect size, great size for vacation or like daily if you like just a small bag that fits a wallet. And a couple of other extras. I love that bag very dearly. It's a really fun class. It's just it's a good, like there's enough there for especially a mid to beginner for like challenging, but it's a no frills bag. It's a good palate cleanser. I can't remember what she's teaching, but Jess from Oakla Roots will be there. She's teaching a couple of classes. I believe Ray Vaughn from Love Lola, I believe, is what her brand is called. She will be there teaching a couple of classes. The whole thing is put on by Amanda from So Bestie, so she's got her and her team teaching a bunch of classes. And I can't recall if she's going to be there. I think she is. Sweetly Unique Boutique, Megan from there, I think she's teaching a class, and I think she's vending too, but don't quote me on that. Yeah, there should be lots of people there. There's fun meetups. It's all kind of got a little bit of an October vibe. Just from Oakla Roots and several others are going to Halloween Horror Nights at Universal there in Orlando. So if you're into that kind of thing, you can go do that with the group. I'm not 100% sure. It's going to depend on what's going on with me at that point, pregnancy wise, because I'm getting ready to do a transfer here fairly soon. So I may or may not be going to any like Halloween kind of party things. But we were planning on doing Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. So that'll be a thing if it's a thing, but you can go to that on your own, obviously. Yeah, there's just a lot of fun stuff going on and I'm excited for it. I am tired at this point, so I'm like kind of not low energy about it. Like I'm very excited, but all the things I've been explaining this whole broadcast, it's just a lot. So our last show was supposed to be like 2 months ago, and then I added the August shows, 2 in the same month, and then frankly I'm still recovering from that, and then we added October as well. So we're really excited to be doing that. But both of us we're excited to go. We love Florida. We love you guys in Florida. You guys always come out and support us, which is amazing. And of course we love Disney, and just we love Orlando at that time of year, because it's not hotter than the surface of the sun anymore. So yeah, we're excited to go. And I'm slowly prepping over here for that. I'm trying to do like little bits at a time. If there's something that you're looking forward to at that show that you want, let me know. This is a specific bag maker show. So if you're like, hey, you never bring this thing to the shows, can you please make sure to have this? I will try my best. Some stuff I just don't bring to the shows. One thing I get asked about all the time is certain template sets, but some of them are so large, transporting them makes it difficult. It's much easier for me. Like I ship in, large boxes for those template sets, this big old box, and that way it's packaged and it's in like, this is a very like good, solid, rigid box. and I don't have to worry about anything happening to them, versus when we transport for shows, everything is just kind of crammed in everywhere, and the ride can be a bit rough, and it's cargo at that point. And so it can just be space-wise, and then just investment-wise, like I'm spending a bunch of money on those templates, and there's a good chance, because I can't pack them in this, like it's difficult. So I try, but some of the stuff, it's just not feasible. We will have a 20-foot booth at this show, so I'm excited for that. We will have, I can't tell you guys about it yet because it's not my thing to tell, but I'm involved in it. And I will have some new merchandise that I'm allowed to show off there. Does that, or like sell it to you guys too. But that'll be the first time you're seeing it. I can't tell you about it otherwise. So October 18th, you will see that. It will be there at the booth. It will be an exclusive thing. I mean, it'll make it to the website, but it'll be at the show first because I can't tell anybody about it till October. And I can't really tell anybody about it anyway. It's not my thing. The people whose thing it is get to tell you guys. So some of you might be a part of that already. Some of you might want to subscribe to said thing. But yeah, it's not my thing to tell. That's so hard. But yeah, that's another thing that's going on. I'm desperately trying to remember all the things, and it's just not possible. There's so much going on behind the scenes that it's like, again, year of investment. Every time I say that in my head and like think about it, I'm a huge Seinfeld nerd, amongst other things, but Summer of George, like that's all I keep thinking. The year of investment, the Summer of George. That's kind of what this feels like. And at this point, I am so, I don't mean this to sound the way it's gonna sound, but like at this point, life has sort of like beat me down a little bit, like broken my spirit in a good way. Like not in some of it was bad, but at this point, it's just, I've been like massaged to a pulp. I feel like a very tenderized steak. I'm just like, okay, whatever, sure. So somebody approaches me about something or needs whatever. Oh, let's do this thing. Or my husband having these bright ideas about this new stuff he wants to do. And I'm like, okay, sure. Yeah, sign me up. I'll be there. Okay, whatever. And then I'm like, why do I do this to myself? I'm exhausted, but it's fine. I'll rest when I'm dead. It's kind of how it's starting to feel at this point. All good things, all good problems to have, but at the same time, I'm over here like, what are you doing? You literally don't have any more left. You're all out. Put some of it back. But too late now. I'm invested. Pull a couple of these orders while I'm talking to you guys. I do have new tags, by the way, on the way at some point. But they're not here yet. I drew a bunch this summer, but not as much as I wanted to on these trips. By the time, typically what would happen when we go on trips is, I don't drive the RV at all. Corey does that. He likes to drive, otherwise he gets bored. And so, I'm grateful for that because there's no way you would catch me driving that sucker. It's way too big. But he drives it. He does great at that. That's awesome. And so I am in the passenger seat and I have nothing to do. But what I have been doing is, previously, I should say, I would always like sit with my iPad and draw, and like creativity abounds. I have all these ideas. I have lists of ideas of things I want to draw and do and create. And then I would always have like tons of new tags to submit. And I do currently have a list going. However, I just haven't been drawing as much, for one time, but two, because we've been so busy and it's just been so much. My creativity is kind of like, I have ideas, like little sparks of things, and then I start on it and I run out of energy so quick. I'm tired. So, honestly, this year is my one thing I've sort of been doing because I haven't had enough energy to really sew. I haven't had enough extra to do anything. I started reading a lot, which is actually really good. I was a huge reader when I was younger. Loved reading, loved books, loved the escapism of books. Loved the knowledge and education of books. I always prided myself on having like a very good vocabulary and being I wouldn't call myself well-read because I kind of only stick to the same categories, but I prided myself on the amount that I read, and that was years ago though. Now, like, I just don't get to read as much anymore. And so because of that, it's just fallen by the wayside. That's okay. But I did want to pick that up again at some point in my life. And, yeah, so it's kind of, that's become the thing that I get to do for myself, I suppose, self-care wise, and like, what do you call it? Just like taking time for myself. It's low physical energy. And yeah, that's been really fun. I've been reading a series of books that I discovered late last year. And, I've read a couple of other things in between that I'll read like 2 or 3 of this book in the series, and then I'll jump and read something else. So, I've read a couple of books I really enjoyed, and a couple that kind of like, not so much. So that's been good. The series I've been reading, I am not, and this is no shade on anybody who is, by the way, I am not a spicy book reader. I'm just not into that. I have a hard time with that. Like, I guess maybe I'm too immature or something. I just giggle the whole time. Like, I can't read these like bodice ripper, spicy novels. They just make me giggle. I've not tried a lot of them, to be fair, but like a few of them, I just can't. So I'm not a spice reader. I am a mystery reader. I am a thriller reader. I'm a fantasy reader, like non-romantic fantasy, like Hobbit, Harry Potter kind of thing. And then I did start reading the Dan Brown books like a year ago. I'm going to be honest, I've seen the movies, so like I know how they end. I gotta tell you, I am not a fan of Dan Brown's writing style. I always heard people really liked it. It is definitely a different writing style. I don't like, the sentences are very like short and choppy and like just like 5 words in a period over and over and over, and the chapters end in weird spots for me, and it's like, why did we just end a chapter only to pick up the next chapter exactly where we were? And he does the thing where he jumps back and forth between like 2 storylines every other chapter, but the chapters are only like 2 paragraphs long. Is like, I'm glad it's for some people. That is not for me. I've never read a book style like that ever, and I won't. I have not been able to even finish Da Vinci Code. Or no, I'm not reading Da Vinci Code. I'm reading the first one in the series, but Da Vinci Code was the first movie. It's literally sitting on the underside of my bedside like table. I have a shelf down there, and it'll probably stay there for the rest of its life. I have tried to pick it up several times. I can't do it. Every time I read it, I'm just annoyed. I'm reading the one where him and the girl are in Vatican City going through the archives looking for the clue about... It's the one with Silas. I can't remember. The one where they're kidnapping the priests or whatever from Conclave, and they have like the brand thing. That's the one that I'm reading. I can't remember which one that is, but it's that one. And I've seriously made it like this far into that book, and I just cannot get through it. So anyway, if you like those style books where they're very short chapters there's like 3 chapters on like a 2-page thing, then you might love it. For me, that is not it. I read Peyton's Place last year, which I really loved. Interesting book. Interesting when you look at it from the perspective of it being written by a woman, and at the time it was published. That is really adds more interest to the story. It's definitely like a drama-filled, kind of salacious, like lots of taboo subjects, but super interesting. Another one that I did read long while back now, that's not obviously a series, was Where the Crawdads Sing. I actually really enjoyed that book. I was surprised. I've never seen the movie. I wanted to read the book first. I really enjoyed the book. It was well written, well crafted, I felt like. Really not pretentious, but eloquently written, and really nice description. I did not have a hard time picturing like what was happening in that book. Like, it just unfolded right before my mind, kind of a thing. So I had a really easy time of kind of escaping there into her story. with the descriptors and things she used. So I enjoyed that. But the series I've been reading, I've told some of y'all about this at the shows. We've been talking about books. The what do they call it? Inspector Gamache, Gamache series, written by Louise Penny. She's a Canadian writer, and all of the stories take place in Canada, specifically, most of them in Quebec area. But the interesting thing about these stories is she intertwines a lot of real Canadian like history and real Canadian events into this story. And I'm going to be honest, my ignorance is probably going to show here, and that's perfectly fine. I did not realize that Canada had such a rich and deep history, specifically involving like separatist movements and the founding of Quebec, the original old Quebec City versus like modern Quebec City, and kind of how all of that goes. It's interesting to hear about their laws as far as how they operate versus like American law when you're talking about crimes, because it's a crime series, typically involving murder. The main character is, there's a lot of character development in this, but not in a boring way. You get it in like little spoonfuls as you go. So by the time you read the first book all the way through, you like have a really well-rounded character, and then you kind of keep revisiting with that same character through every mystery that he goes through. It's not, in my opinion, very dry. It's interesting. There's not a ton of humor, but when there is, it's pretty cute, tongue-in-cheek humor. But she paints really nice pictures of the places that she is writing about as well. And I have learned a ton about Canadian history, but like in, again, little spoonfuls. It's very digestible, and I'll read little bits in there that make me want to like, oh, I'm going to Google that. Like, what is that? Or I need to look this place up so I can see what she's talking about, because this is a real place. And it's been really fun learning about that. There's also little tiny bits of French in there, not enough that you won't understand if you don't speak French. The way she writes is she'll have like a French phrase so you can see it, and then she'll translate it into English like right after. So like she'll say the thing in French, and then she'll say like, like he thought da 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 da, and say it in English so you like understand the connotation and like understand what the phrase means. So that's interesting. I took French for a long time in school in addition to Spanish, and so I'm by no means fluent or anything, but I know enough to get through it, and it's very little bits in the book, like you don't need to know any, but it's kind of fun because I remember stuff from class that like I haven't thought about in years. I never used French in real life, so it kind of like fell out. The only time it's ever been helpful was when we were in actual France, and I was like, oh, I know that word. Like, I know that. Like, I could kind of recognize things, mostly reading. But anyway, so that's also been interesting. It's just a really interesting series, and there's like 20 of them, and she's still writing them. So if you're like me and you like to kind of revisit, and it's like a comfort read, but it's also new, you might really like that series. So just like a tiny bit of education. I'd call it 90%, fiction, with 10% of like real stuff used as framing devices in some of the stories. She writes a lot about the art world in Quebec, and the very rich like art scene and artists. So several of the books are surrounding that, but each one, the one I'm currently reading, is about a monastery, a murder that took place in a monastery. So that's interesting, by an order of monks that I am fairly certain actually exist, but the murder didn't actually happen. So it's really interesting because now we're talking about Quebec like religion, what's popular there, what was popular there, it's just interesting. So I never had a hankering to like learn about or think about these things really until presented with them, and now I'm like, oh, that's so interesting. Well, now I want to learn, more about this or that. And it causes me to Google stuff. So thought-provoking, but also fun. So I've been reading those. And that's what's been happening instead of me drawing tags while we're on the road. I'm so fried. I just end up putting in my AirPods, turning on some jazz music, and reading a book like that. And that's it. I'm like, that's all I have the energy for by the time we prep for these shows and then like leave. I'm so spent. So from here on out, starting this month, frankly, and it's been really good, I'm trying not to run my battery all the way to 0 every day. And then like, because what's happening is when I wake up the next day, I'm not like recharged. Does that make any sense? I don't know if you can relate to that or if you've ever had a time in your life like that. But that's been this year because we've just been so busy. And then every time we're here, it's like, okay, we have a million things we got to catch up on, do email, Zoom meeting with this person, do this, do that. And then I'm turning around and we're leaving again. And then I'm teaching 4 classes in an event. Wow, it's a lot. So, I'm like, okay, starting in September. And that's the big reason why I've been really quiet. I'm still doing a ton of work behind the scenes, but, I'm sorry, I just haven't had a lot left over for you guys, which is a bummer because I do miss like chatting and reading your guys' comments, which I'm going to go through and read all of them. And then any little bit of extra I've had, which is none, has been going toward the IVF stuff. So, I'm here. I'm just floating. Like I'm just going wherever the current takes me at this point. And the one thing I didn't really realize is with IVF, and I don't know how people who have a normal job do this, by the way. I work all day, all the time. I don't keep normal hours. You guys see your orders getting fulfilled at 9 and 10 p.m. because I work like all day, all night. When you're a small business owner, that's what you do. But I can take off in the middle of the day if I need to and, go. So we live out in the sticks. I have to drive all the way to Dallas for our clinic to go see that doctor. And it's like an hour drive without traffic one way. So that's a 2-hour situation. And then you got to, wait and do your appointment. I did not realize, in addition to all of the other stuff with IVF, the amount of doctor's appointments, because they have to monitor you. So like I have to go in for a freaking sonogram and lab blood draw work every other day. That's 2 hours just in travel time, plus the stuff, plus then they got to call you and have a counseling thing with you and, oh, we got to change this, we got to do that, it means this, it means that, also call this pharmacy and they're going to deliver blah, blah, blah to you, because you can't even go to a normal pharmacy. You got to go to a special one. And if you don't live by it, then you got to pay for shipping and they got to same day it, and you have to have a signature required because it's really expensive. Like, so then you got to wait around. How is the average person who works a 9 to 5 in an office supposed to do this? Like, there are so many thoughts I have about this process and situation. Like I was saying, every time I have to get one of these shots, which is every day, multiple times, I just think about folks who are diabetic and having to give yourself shots. Like that is something I never thought about. Kudos to you for doing it. Cause like, I can't give myself the shots. I haven't worked myself up to that yet. It's just hard. My brain is like, no, don't stab yourself. It's just difficult. So, that's something I haven't thought about until now. And then also this thing of like, I cannot imagine having to go into, your office job or whatever with this on top of it. Like this is exhausting. And, it's just a lot. There's so much involved that you just don't think about, as is the case with most things, I think. But this so much more. It's like I think we're conditioned or like told, because we know to think about like the emotional and the financial burden of IVF treatments, which that's a lot of it, but on top of like there's so much other stuff. And then, you get all like bloated and ridiculous. Like I'm not doing too bad, but I can tell like I'm a little extra. You guys can't really see. But like just in general, I've rounded out just a little bit more than normal. And I feel just like a little bloated, maybe like kind of all over the place. And your like clothes don't fit, or the really stupid thing, right where they want you to do all the shots is basically like right where all of your pants sit, like your waistband. Oh, and after a while that starts to get really irritating and tender. So there's just a lot of stuff, stuff you don't think about. But so far, I guess it's going well. I don't know. We haven't really, all we've been doing is what they call, like prime protocols. So, last month I did a whole bunch of different pills and shots to just like, I'm not even really sure what it was for, but, lots of hormones and lots of stuff. That was a prime. And now we're doing another prime, and pretty soon, hopefully there will be eggs to go and get, and they call that retrieval. So we'll be doing retrieval here pretty quick at like the end of the month, as long as everything goes according to plan. So that's like an actual surgical thing from my understanding. I have to be like put out for that and have to have a ride and stuff. And then after that, shortly after, there's some other stuff to do and then transfers. So fingers crossed. Yeah. And then we'll see. So that'll be maybe another change in 2025, which is another reason why I want to get this business not in 7 rooms of my house. That's an exaggeration. It's not 7, but it's all the extra rooms. Because hopefully there'll be one of these rooms will need to get turned into a nursery, a baby room. So, it's been really weird. I'm not going to say I've been thinking about it, because I kind of haven't. I'm trying to stay realistic. Nothing has ever worked for us, even for like a minute. So I'm fortunate enough that I have not had to deal with miscarriages, but at the same time, I've never been able to make anything happen. And nobody can tell us why, because it's like on paper, in all the labs, all the x-ray sonograms, blah, 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 everything is there, and it's 110% perfect, tip-top shape, no reason why this isn't working. But it's never worked. And so this is like our last ditch Hail Mary. If this does not work, then that means we finally get to move on. If you've ever lived this particular thing, I've talked about this before, it's really hard to live your life, especially this age of your life, with like 1 foot in, 1 foot out, right? So you're young enough that you can kind of do whatever, you're in the money-making prime of your life, whatever your career is, because you're not retired, you're still making money, presumably. Health-wise, you're young, you have the most energy you have, which only typically kind of slowly peters out as you get older. Physically, you're probably the best shape you've ever been, realistically, and that kind of tends to peter out as well. Our joints, our things get less as we age, typically. And so you find yourself in this point of life when you're like, I can do anything. I can travel. I can buy a high-rise condo. I don't need a house with a yard. I can live wherever I want because I don't care about schools. I don't care about these things. I could buy a sports car because whatever. But at the same time, if you're a practical person at all, you don't have unlimited resources. You want to make the smart decisions. So you want to have fun and you want to do the stuff that you can do while you're young. People tell you to do that. But then at the same time, you're like, well, if I buy a high-rise condo, I travel too much, and I buy a 2-seater car, then I have a kid, like, I'm going to be up a creek and I'm going to have to, it's not smart investments. It's not things that I should be doing. I should be doing the smart thing. And I have spent the last decade of my life, my marriage, doing the smart thing for something that doesn't exist. I don't know if that makes any sense, but it's like, we don't have children. We've never been able to have children. And you just spend your whole life feeling like you're wasting it. Because friends of ours who have kids are like, why don't you guys travel? Why don't you, do this? Why don't you get a boat? Why don't you buy a summer place? You can renovate your whole house. You can do all these things. Because they're not necessarily able to, right? Because they have kids. And so they're like, well, we spend all of our money and time on our kids. We can't do these things. You should be doing this. Why are you pushing so hard to have kids? It's really hard to live on both sides of that. Because that's all you do. You're literally just waiting like, okay, maybe this will be the month. And so then when your car lease is up or your car dies and it's time to get a new car, you're like, ooh, I really want that cool little sporty littler car, that cool fun one I always wanted when I was, when I couldn't afford it. And now you're in your 30s and kind of in the prime money-making situation, right? And you're like, oh, I can finally afford that. But it's not smart. And everything is like that. If we knew kind of, again, what we knew now, I don't regret, I guess, moving to this house, but I do in some ways. We moved out here for the schools and the space, and I'm like, I miss Dallas so much. I miss the food. I miss the people. I miss everything about it. I miss the look and the feel, and even the weather is different. We're only 40 minutes south, but it is like a different world out here, truly. And it's fine, but I'm not sure it's for me, but I'm kind of stuck here now because pandemic and house values and mortgage rates and all those things and needing this space for the business, I can't afford space this much or more in Dallas. So we're just kind of stuck. And that's okay, I guess. But I'm over here like, and Corey's asked me, he's like, if I told you we could move back to Dallas tomorrow and you'd have to close down your business, but we knew we weren't going to have a kid because we moved there because the city is, it is dangerous in the places we can afford to live somewhat. And the schools are absolutely horrible. You have to be able to afford private school, which we could not, or homeschool. And it was like, what do we do? And we just, we knew at some point if we couldn't make it work, IVF was going to be where we would go. And we're here now. And so we'll see how all this turns out, because it's not like I'm really hankering to shut down the business or anything. But I don't know. I got to tell you guys, like, I'm sacrificing a lot, in my opinion, to be out here in the sticks. It is not for me. It's fine. But I do miss living in the city. I miss having everything at my fingertips, like walking out your door and just having all the things. And I truly have to tell you, so dumb, but I really enjoy gardening. I miss my old growing zone. Dallas is specifically the area we lived in is what's known as a microclimate. And when I tell you I could grow anything easily and beautifully, and the weather was just perfect all the time. It's so different. You would not think that this would be so different, but it is. This is the windiest city ever, so it strips every leaf and plant of its nutrients. I kid you not. I have to water and do so much more in baby things, basic things. Like, we're not talking about fancy stuff. Just getting regular shrubs to grow here is like a nightmare. You almost live in like a desert feeling. Like, everything is just dirt out here. There's constantly just dirt blowing in the wind. And it is just so windy. And then because it's just all overdeveloped and it's a different climate down here, like, trees don't grow. We have like pyramidal juniper trees. They are technically a tree, but they just look like a huge shrub, versus Dallas and that area, it's like trees, like limbed trees. It's just different. And so there's not a lot of shade down here. I mean, the whole area is like that. It's just different. And I just really miss where we were. So again, more changes, because we'll see if this doesn't work. I mean, we're going to try IVF as much as we can, but financially it's so expensive because you pay for the initial medications, you pay for all this going on. And then every single time you go to try to do a transfer to see if you can make a pregnancy work, it's like $4,000. It's so expensive, and not a lick of it is covered by insurance. And that doesn't even begin to cover, that's just the transfer cost. Like, think of it as like the cost to see the doctor that time. It doesn't include all the medications for that round and all that stuff. So it is so expensive. Yeah, I don't understand how anybody is supposed to do this. Like, I don't even know. We're just going out on a limb, honestly, to do it. And it's something we're going to be paying off for a long, long time. And so, and then if you do finally get pregnant, then you got to pay for all of that afterwards, which insurance does cover a lot of that, but not even all of it. You guys know how that works too. Woof. So anyway, I'm like, okay, so then if none of this works, we just have a ton of bills, and then I don't know what I'm going to do with my life, something else, because then finally we're just going to know if it worked or not. So we can stop having one foot on either side. And then, yeah, we'll decide if we want to move back to Dallas, because it's something that we talk about all the time. And there's no reason, like, why am I out here for the schools when I don't have kids? That's dumb. So we'll just have to see. Like, we're all in this together. We're all on an adventure together. You guys, I literally know nothing that you pretty much don't know at this point. So we're all going to go on the little journey together. And we'll see how stuff shakes out. I'm not sure. And also, again, I can't really tell you guys, but I'm about to make a very large investment in this business, an expensive one, more so than I already have. And that'll be fun and interesting and new and terrifying. But then I'm also like, well, then what? Because if I do that, I mean, I'm in it for the long haul anyway, let's be real. But like, then I'm really in it for the long haul. Because this is something that, like, I don't know what I'm going to do with it if I'm not in this business anymore. So, but I can't tell you about it yet. So anyway, it's been real. It's been fun. It's been the year of investment, and I'm just doing all the things. I'm going to read through your guys' comments. I'm about to get like awkwardly close to the camera because I can't read any of that from here. But yeah, I'm going to read through your questions, comments, concerns, all that good stuff. And then I've got more chores to do. Got a couple orders I got to take to the post office. Oh, here's a thing I forgot to tell you about. International shipping. Up until now, I've only shipped to Canada and basically North America, Puerto Rico, whole United States, all that good stuff, for several reasons, but we are in the process of finalizing all of the things we need to do to ship internationally. Yay! Like officially. So overseas, Australia, UK, Netherlands, wherever, whoever we can get packages to will be shipping worldwide. So yay, that'll be really fun. I'm excited for that. We're finalizing. There's a lot of like tax and stuff you got to go through, hoops, but Corey's been working on that. I have not. That is not my thing. But he's been working on that and he's getting it all set up. So that should be sometime soon. I'll make an official announcement, but I would say within the next month or so. Definitely by the end of the year, if everything, there's a lot of hoops to jump through, but as long as we get all that done, then we'll be able to go overseas to you guys. I get a lot of emails asking, and you've always been able to buy from me, but you just have to do it. Like send me an email, tell me what you want, and I'll ship it to you. And I know that's a pain. So we've always shipped over there, but now it'll just be on the website. So like you can go, you can check out, you can even look at the website in your currency now. So check it out in pounds or Canadian dollars or whatever it is that you use. That'll be a thing too. That's another thing. Like I said, I'm trying to remember all the stuff, and there's just so much stuff. I can't recall like everything I've been working on and doing and getting in place. So it's hard to tell you guys about all of it when I've been working on it for like months. Okay, we are going to, oh my gosh, you guys have been commenting a lot. I wish these comments were bigger. It would be easier to read. Tina and Sherry said hi, good morning, hello. Sparrow's Nest. She says, I can't handle the needle either. Yeah, I get that. And I'm sure somebody out there who's diabetic or who needs to give themselves shots every day is listening to me, say these things. And you're probably like, oh, you're an idiot. I get it. Again, ignorance. Like, it's just not something that I obviously knew these things were involved, but it's really hard to give yourself a shot. I'm not afraid of needles. I don't have an issue with needles. I get shots and blood draws all the time, but doing it to yourself is another thing. Mentally, it's so weird because your brain is screaming, no, don't do that. It's going to hurt. That's bad. Don't inject stuff in yourself. Like that day when I was thinking about it too, I went back to all of my like DARE things in school where they were like, oh, needle drugs are bad. And like, I get that this is not a needle drug, but it is a drug in a needle. I'm putting it in myself. So my brain was just like, no, we were told not to do this. It's so bad. Like, don't do these things. It's going to hurt you. That's weird. It's wild to try to like get yourself to do that. Yeah. So it just is what it is. Sparrow's Nest says, I feel like my whole life has been investment and I'm just waiting to reap. Well, that sucks. But I can tell you, if you've literally been investing in yourself your whole life, then your time is coming. We do that every day on a small scale, but we reap little rewards, typically that little promotion at work, the new job we got training for, and now we can apply for a better one. Like those are the little rewards we get every day, or more regularly. So hopefully, like I got a new job and I work more hours so I could buy a new car. Like that's, but sometimes you really need to get that really expensive car and you're just, I have to buy a truck and so it's going to take me a really long time to pay it off kind of a thing. And I got to get money for the down payment and it's taken me 1.5 years to work. Like that's the long investment, right? But hopefully if you haven't been reaping what you've been sowing, then I hope you do soon. And if not, maybe consider sowing something else. little bit of advice. Sometimes we invest in things that don't pan out too. There's never a guarantee. I mean, I'm taking all these shots and spending all this money, and I gotta be honest with you. Like I was saying, I'm trying to be realistic. So I don't want to be too optimistic to where I'm being dumb about it, but sometimes we invest in stuff and it just is not a good investment. It doesn't pay off. So I'm hoping this one pays off, but I might be right there with you. I might be just waiting to reap on that one forever. Sparrow's Nest also said, I have that pattern, but I still haven't made the bag yet. I just need the right fabric to inspire me. I feel that way about a lot of patterns. I can 100% agree on that one. So Lisa once said, you are beautiful. Thank you, Lisa. And that bag is gorgeous. It is gorgeous. For those of you who just tuned in, she's talking about this bag I was showing off that Mary, one of my very talented strike artists, made. She made this out of all Emporium Threads materials, which is pretty cool. I posted in the Facebook group. By the way, Mary, this bag smells really good. It smells like you, I guess. I don't know. It smells like perfume or something. Lotion. It smells super good. Every time I pick it up, I get like this whiff of like florally something pretty. It smells nice. Let's see. Do I still have the Glimmer Leopard vinyl? I put it in my cart a few days ago and I didn't check out. Yes. Sparrow's Nest asked about Glimmer Leopard vinyl. I'm looking at it right now. I have 2 bronze, 1 Sahara, 5 sea salt pink, and 1 coral left. That was on sale over the weekend. So I am discontinuing that, at least for now. She's asking about this leopard right here. I'll show you guys. I have just a couple of them left. I'll make sure that my quantities are updated. We call it Glimmer Leopard because from far away it just looks like regular leopard. But up close, hopefully you can see it. There's the tiniest hint of shimmer. Like, it's not even shimmer, it's not glitter. It reminds me of like cosmetic products that have a little bit of shimmer to them, like a lotion or something you rub on, but not like body glitter, like stripper glitter. Not like that. Anybody who grew up in the 2000s, you know. But do you remember the nicer body shimmers that you like sprayed and it was like a glowing, glimmery, like that? Those fruity smelling things we were like obsessed with. That's what this reminds me of. Not the stripper glitter, but like the glimmer stuff. So all of them have just that little tiny bit of glimmer. I do still have a few rolls. Like I said, there's just 1. This is the Sahara. I have 1 Sahara, 2 bronze, 5 sea salt pinks, and 1 coral. Oh, excuse me. So I do still have those. They are not still on sale. Unfortunately, that was just a little flash sale for the weekend, but they are still there if you want to grab them. I'm not going to restock these because I've got new stuff coming in and I only have so much room in here. So, let's see. So Melissa Martin says, that was such a popular song. It makes me feel old saying it's like 20 years ago. Yeah, all of those songs, well, obviously the Wham one is from like late 80s, I think, or early 80s, late 80s. But yes, all of those songs are probably going to make you feel old. I do have some that are coming that are from newer songs, but yeah, we'll see about that. Most of them are probably going to be old songs. A lot of them, I have a couple that are named after Beatles songs. And I have my whole kind of itinerary of ombre color palettes and stuff already picked out for what I'm going to be doing and releasing those as we go. So yeah, they're probably all going to make you feel old. Lots of things make me feel old these days. I keep thinking to myself, in my mind, I'm like, oh, the 2000s was just like 10 years ago. Like I still feel that way. Doesn't really matter how much older I get. I just feel that way. I'm not sure that I'm ever not going to feel that way. It's kind of weird. Made weirder by the fact that people keep dying like celebrities, like James Earl Jones just passed away. And I'm thinking to myself, like, no, he's in so many things because I grew up with him in like so many things. There are so many celebrities like that I'm like, no, they can't be old. They're not old. They're like 50 or 60. In my mind, they're just perpetually the age that they were when I had them around a lot in stuff. Yeah, it's weird. Getting older is weird because I don't feel older, but I look older, but to myself, I don't look older. And then now when I'm starting to see pictures of myself, like from my 20s, I'm almost like I don't know how you'd explain it. I look at that and I'm like, who even is that? Even though it's obviously me. I don't look so drastically different. I'm definitely older. I'm definitely heavier. I just look at it and I'm like, who is that? She was cute. What happened? And then I just start to feel like, wait, all my friends are getting old and they're all married, but in my mind, they're still like the kid I hung out with in high school. Like, I don't know how to explain that. I don't know what that is, that it's like, and then mentally I don't feel older, but physically I do. Emotionally I do sometimes. It's a wild place to be getting old. I'm not really feeling it. I can only imagine how this would feel if you make it to like 80 or 90 and then you're just like, none of my friends are alive and all the things I liked are gone now too. Also, okay, here's a weird one on the subject of just getting older and being 20 years ago. I no longer know who anyone is. Like singers and stuff. If you asked me who was popular right now, I could tell you like some people, I guess. I cannot tell you who is like a popular singer. And like I see these award shows and there was a skit or whatever, like a non sequitur they did on Family Guy, like probably 10 years ago now. I'm going to say 2 years ago, but it was probably like 10. And it rings so true in my mind. And we make fun of it all the time in this house or like reference it. So they're showing an award show on Family Guy, like this made up thing. And they're like, oh, the Teen Choice Awards starring. And then they like start saying all these stars' names. But the whole point of it is the person watching this doesn't know any of the stars' names. So they're like, Chad Chaddington and Jeff Johnson and Scooby-Doo hoo-ha. Like the names are all ridiculous and the person watching is like, who are these people? Who is this? That's me. I am that person now. I have no clue who any of these movie stars are, unless they were popular like at least 10 years ago. If they are under 30 right now, I have no clue who they are. I see them and I'm like, oh, is he the new heartthrob? Is he the thing everybody's into? I don't know who any of these people are. Same with the actresses and yeah. Like I don't, and it's really weird. I'm like, I don't know who any of these people are. What do you do? Are you a singer? Are you an actress? Are you a entertainer at all? Oh, you're a comedian. Okay, yep, nope, I have no clue. I don't know who anybody is. And then more interestingly is that I kind of don't really have a desire to know. Like I want to for a second and then I'm like, oh, I don't care. I'll just watch the same movies. I'm just going to go watch Beetlejuice, the old one. I know who all those people are. It's probably not great mentally for me to be doing that. I am not keeping up on current stuff. Politics, yes, to a certain point. Kinda. And that's kind of it. I don't know who anybody is anymore. I used to be massive into football. I couldn't even tell you who plays on any of the teams at this point. Like, I still think those same players are there and people are like, oh no, he got traded like 10 years ago. He hasn't been your quarterback for like 6 years. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I don't know who anybody is. Oh, everything was 20 years ago or 30 years ago. And in my mind, I say 10 or 5, but it was 20, or I say 20 and it's really more like 30. That's upsetting. So Sparrow's Nest asked about Occasion in Orlando, and I think I answered that. Yes, I am. I'm attending. I'm teaching. I'm vending, so that'll be a thing. So Sparrow's Nest said, yes, please bring webbing and templates if you can, which I can, and I will. I'm hoping to have some new template sets with me. Fingers crossed, because like I said, I have a bunch that are like 80% done, and all I need to do is finish, like they're done. I need to just make them, and then I need to get time to sew with them to make sure they're good. So that's what I'm hoping while I'm here. I get to do that. And so then I answered this question. She said, ooh, now I have to go. Yes, you do. Come and see me while we're in Lake Nona. There's all kinds of stuff going on and it'll be fun. I don't know, because backtracking to shows really quick. Like I said, we're only going to do like 3, maybe more next year, but like really I want to do like 3. Because we went to Orlando already this year, we did Lakeland. I was going to say something about a lake. We did Lakeland, Florida earlier this year, and now we're going to Lake Nona just outside of Orlando. That's Orlando area or Florida area in 2 times in a year. I don't know if we're going to go back to Orlando next year. like not for shows. So if you're in that area and you're like, oh, I'll catch you next year. I don't know if we're doing Lakeland, honestly. I don't know if we want to do the same or if we want to try to branch out elsewhere. So keep that in mind. If you're like, oh, I'll shop you later, like, you might not. We'll see. I want to do it, but we are so limited on our time, and I'm trying to branch out. I'm trying to get around to other shows. So for sure, we're going to be in Orlando in October at Lake Nona. So if you're wanting to shop, I would come there. Also, there's going to be a lot of other people. I don't know if you guys know who Wonderground Fabrics is. She's coming and she's vending. She doesn't really do a lot of shows. She pretty much only sticks to her kind of side of the country over in California. And she came to Vegas, but that's because it's close to her in California. So it's crazy. She's going all the way over to Orlando. If you want to shop her, and you do, because she has great stuff, come to the Socation thing in October 18th, 19th, 20th and shop her booth. That's going to be seriously one of the only times you're going to get to do that. She has basically said like, I don't do a lot of shows. I'm not traveling that far. So I was pretty shocked when I found out she was coming to vend at Socation. Like, I'm excited. So come to Socation, because that's your opportunity. I really do not think you're going to see her a lot. I mean, she's always online, of course, but like if you want to shop in person, that's your opportunity. October 18th, 19th, and 20th at the Aloft Hotel in their convention center in October. You have been warned. I know Heartwood and Hyde will be there. I don't know if she's going to vend it all. She'll probably have a spot in the Wonderground booth, but Just from Okla Roots might bring some of her stuff. And then obviously I'll have a 20-foot booth. I know there are others. I just honestly, I can't remember. I know Juki Junkies is going to be there too. And my understanding is she does not do a lot of shows. She's vending machines. So if you've been looking at a Juki machine or you want to meet the folks at Juki Junkies, that would be another opportunity for you to do that. So, keep that in mind too, I guess. Yeah. Just food for thought, just opportunities to make you think about. Sparrow's Nest says, we are so alike. I love Seinfeld. Look, I love Seinfeld. My greatest love of all time and still to this day is Frasier. I loved Frasier. I was a young girl and I had the biggest crush on Kelsey Grammer. I still do. I have not watched the new series. I won't commit until there's like multiple seasons, but I loved both Kelsey Grammer and actually David Hyde Pierce. I have to tell you, I was so crushed. That was my first. I think every girl at some point in her life, girl, woman, you've had a crush on a man, and how like disillusioned and heartbroken you are when you find out they're gay. That was me with David Hyde Pierce. I was obsessed with him. I thought he was so cute. I think it was the Niles character that I was really obsessed with, but I saw him in a bunch of different stuff. He was huge in the 90s, of course, you know that. If you were around, I loved everything about him, and I was so like, I just had the biggest crush on him. And then I found out he was gay, and I was really sad. Same thing with Neil Patrick Harris. I was like, what? We'll never get married because he doesn't like women? Or he's not attracted to women, I should say. Yeah. You know, I think every woman can remember that in your life, even whether it was a celebrity or like a person you went to like school with, and then you found out and you were like, what? No. Men, I'm sure, probably have that too, and they find out that a woman, isn't attracted to men, she's a lesbian, and then they're like, no, we were going to get married and have kids, and I've been dreaming about this thing in my head this whole time, and now it's not because you couldn't be attracted to me. It's like, how delusional is that, right? It's not that like, oh, you're 40 years older than me and like not a real person. You're playing a character I have a crush on. That's not why we're not going to get married. It's because you're gay. But I can totally remember that. But I always loved Frasier. I still love Frasier. That's my comfort watch, one of them. So if I'm just turning on something in the background, I can quote Frasier all day long. Same with Seinfeld. I still like Seinfeld, and it's definitely a comfort thing, but not in the way that Frasier was for me. I love Frasier, and loved Cheers as well. So I watched Frasier first and then went back and rewatched Cheers, and I have all the seasons, and I will literally start with Cheers, watching all of them. Funnily enough, when certain things evoke like memories or feelings, you know? I have a lot of that with smells and sounds. So music is a huge thing for me, not just songs you listen to on the radio, but like scores, or even TV show sounds. So the horns in Cheers, those of you who watched Cheers or have watched it, every time a scene opens, it kind of opens with the, I don't know if it's a clarinet or an oboe. I'm not sure what horn that is, but it's a different woodwind than what you normally kind of hear. But it opens with that little, plays the little horn music, and then it kind of ends a lot of the scenes with that too. And typically the ending part where it would close out before a commercial would be a little bit more horns with like piano and some drums. Like those were more upbeat or whatever. I was rewatching Cheers, or at the time that was my first watch, I should say, in my very late 20s, moving here to Texas. So that was my comfort thing. I was watching Cheers. I'd already watched Frasier for years and years and years and knew all of it. And I was like, I'm going to go watch the backstory. I'm going to watch where Frasier came from. So I started watching that. I got all the seasons. And so now those horns and that like music every time I watch it is like this weird, I don't know, we moved here in the fall and it was our first like real fall moving from Arizona and I grew up here, by the way, I should say. So I know what real seasons are. Arizona has like one season. It's just hot and sunny, and then less hot and still sunny. So we moved here in the fall and it was a really weird fall. It was very fallish, lots of wet, tons of leaves changing, really cold, foggy every morning, like real seasons. And so I was rewatching that show all the time while I was unpacking my house. And that's all I did for like 4 months while I was unpacking and doing things. And anyway, so that show just always, that's a thing for me, a little earworm that every time I hear it, it like, makes me feel like I'm, 24 again, moving across the country and experiencing fall and all these new adventures. Anywho, nobody asked that, but I told you anyway. Some of these comments kind of moved through here. So then let's see. I love spicy novels, but they have to be a good story. I skip over the smut if it's too much. Sonia hopped on. Hey, Sonia. We were chatting earlier. Anyway, she says, I like romance across the board, but right now I read a lot of mafia and alien romance. Okay. See, there's a genre for everything. I did not know that was a thing. I also read other young adult types. I'm currently reading the last book of the Selection series. Okay, see, that one I have not heard of, but I haven't ventured into anything. I found the Gamache series. Like I said, there's like 20 books, and I didn't know it was a whole series. I was watching, I don't know, the news or something in the morning. They had the author. Actually, I don't even think they had the author. I think it was just a lady talking about books that won awards. Like, these books are big sellers this year. And I heard the latest Louise Penny on, I didn't know it was the latest one, but they were talking about it. And I went to look up the book, and then I realized there were like 20 other books before it. And I thought, well, I can't start here. I have to start at the beginning of the series, which for me is perfect. Just like TV shows, I can't invest before there's like 5 or 6 seasons. If there's not enough, I won't even watch it because I like stuff and then I like to rewatch it. So like favorite series of all times, and I do rewatch them regularly. True Blood, because there's a ton of seasons. Dexter, there's a ton of seasons. Vampire Diaries, I love. There's like 14 or 15 seasons. I just turn something on and I just watch it until the end, like over months and months and months. Same thing with movies. My big comfort watch movies. I'm a Marvel fan. I love the MCU. I love everything about it. I don't want to hear about it if you don't. I love it. I'll never not love it. We're currently in the middle. We just watched Black Panther last night. We go through a rewatch of those movies like every year, because that's like 25 years of my life. Every summer, every fall, a new Marvel movie coming out, So we rewatch them. We're rewatching them right now. We just watched Black Panther last night. We're watching them in not release order, but story order. We always watch them in story order. Same with like the Hobbit movies, stuff like that. So anyway, but that was perfect for me to find out about this series. But because I'm on book 7, I think now, of like 20 or something like that, I'll have books to read forever, which is great because I love the way it's written and I love the stories. So perfect for me if you're that type of reader and you like mystery mixed with like a little bit of real stuff. That's good. But occasionally I jump over and I read something nonfiction too. I did read a mafia book. I never actually finished it. I should say I need to. This book is thick. It's The Five Families. It's all about the actual five family mafia. I started that years ago and I just kind of dive into it here and there. But I need to finish that one. Alien romance, though, that sounds interesting. Oh, thank you, Sherry. I appreciate that. Sparrow's Nest says, I reap rewards by buying sewing supplies. See? That's one of the things. But if it's not serving you, you gotta, Sparrow's Nest says, my youngest child just left for college. I'm reaping time. It should start soon. Yes. Now you get your time back. That's one of the things I hear all the time from people who have kids talking to me, like, almost like this, like, why do you want to ruin your life? Why do you want to have kids? I don't know, because I've been doing this on my own for a long time and it would be nice to have a family. Grass is always greener. Everybody looks at you and goes, but you can do whatever you want. I know. And you know what? After a while, that gets really boring. It's a blessing and a curse because it's just you. I'm just doing the same thing. And I choose to just work all the time, because I don't really have anything else going on. So it would be nice to have something else going on. It would be nice to devote my time to somebody else, I can hear all the moms out there behind the screen screaming, no. But it's true. The grass is always greener. And I'm sure at some point I'll look back at some stage and go, oh, why did I do this? If it does work. But life, life is lifing. It's always going to be something. So anyway, Sparrow's Nest said, stop. Frasier is my all-time favorite too. I watch the entire series every year at least once. I know. I do too. I just, I haven't turned anything on lately because I've been so busy, but I'll turn stuff on in the background, and I think I'm in the middle of like season 2 right now. So yeah, I love Frasier. That show is never not funny to me. That is so my humor. And if that is your humor too, maybe I've just been surrounded by the wrong people my whole life, but, I don't know. I find that type of intellect and wit and humor so funny, and it like speaks to my soul. But I say jokes and things like that all the time, especially when you get to know me in person, on camera and through like the internet and stuff's a little different. But some of you have probably picked up on some of the really doofy stuff I say. But that's where it comes from. Like, it's that. And, in person, I am that, and people do not get it. They just do not get it. And I'm like, you know what? Whatever. That's fine. That's just me. But yeah, they are not going to get it. I don't like the new Frasier spinoff. It's just not the same. Yeah, that's also kind of why I haven't committed to watching it yet. I'm waiting for it to, be around for a little longer. But yeah, I have a hard time. The sequel is never as good. I've always been, even when it first came out when I was a kid, huge Hocus Pocus fan. Loved the movie. I always loved it. Partially, I gotta say, I thought it was a great movie, but everything Halloween, witchcraft, spooky, scary, dark, any of that was absolutely forbidden in my house. And then like stuff that wasn't even actually witchcraft or anything else was forbidden because my parents were nuts. But that just made me like it more. So when Hocus Pocus came out, I was like, I totally snuck behind their backs and saw it at a friend's house or whatever. And I loved it. I adored it. And as a kid, I still do. I adored Bette Midler. I just thought she was fantastic. I was a huge theater geek and really into like musical, anything like that over the top. So I just thought she was amazing. But then I saw the sequel. I've been waiting for a sequel my whole life, and I just didn't love it. It is what it is, but I didn't love it. And so to me, it's like when there's something like that, I just go, oh, it's not canon. And I just like won't even watch it. It's like it doesn't exist. So I have that movie, but it probably will not make it into my regular rotation. I have started my Halloween movie rotation. I did a secret sew the other day, which was really fun. Like I said, I finally got to sew something. And I watched Casper. I have, my fall movies. So like all of my top, I'm sure you guys have a rotation of like fall and Christmas movies you love. But Casper is one of mine with, I think it's Bill Pullman that's in it. And Christina Ricci as a kid. Love that. Hocus Pocus, obviously. Halloween Town. Duh. Have to have Halloween Town. Monster House from, I think that's a Universal or a DreamWorks. Love Monster House. Coraline. Coraline's a year-round one for me. And I'll be honest with you, I am totally that person who watches Halloween and Christmas movies in like February, March, April. The Santa Claus is so near and dear to my heart. I love Tim Allen. He was like my TV dad growing up. I adore Tim Allen still. And everything he's pretty much ever played, I just love him. And so the Santa Claus movies, all three of them, I love them. That's one of the only ones where I like the sequels just as much as the first ones. I love those movies. They're amazing. I love the cast in all of them too. So, yep. And I will watch those in August. Like, you will absolutely find me watching the Santa Claus in August. Specifically, the score of that first movie, the music that's in it is a comfort feeling thing for me. Like I was explaining about the horns in Cheers. And then back to fall movies, though. Hocus Pocus is another one. And I'm not really a fan of the craft or practical magic. I gotta be honest. Like, they're okay. They're just all right. I don't love them. But those will make it into the rotation. And so, yeah, I'm about to do some sewing over the next couple of days again. And I'll be turning on some fall movies. It'd be fun. Anyway, I have some orders to fulfill, and then I'm going to take them to USPS and UPS. And then I have a closet to rip out. That's the name of the game today. So I'm going to get some lunch, and then I'm going to do some demo. I'm ripping out that bar and the shelf in there, and then I got to go get some paint because I got to patch up whatever I mess up in there. I have a set of bookcases that are being delivered on Friday, so I'm hoping to have this all done. And then bookcases are going in here, and then from the other room where all of my sewing notions are, I will move them in here like that. Oh, so probably the next time I'm on camera, I'm going to be in a different room. Is my hope. I hope this warehouse room is all moved to the other room at that point, and I'm aiming to get a lot of it done before we leave in October. And then, yeah, just all this IVF stuff in between. So who knows? Who knows what's going to be going on, but I'll keep you guys updated. I definitely post in the Facebook group, just, typing posts. But we'll have to see. Just, I don't know. I've been quiet because I got a lot going on, which is really good. But I hope you guys are having a good start to your fall season. It's pretty much officially fall here. I think we've had a couple of warm days and sunny days, but it's cloudy, and I'm here for it. I'm over summer at this point. I'm all done. I'm over the heat, and I'm over doing shows in the heat. Load in and load out sucks so bad when it's hot. So I am ready for fall officially. And I suppose the next time you might even see me might be in October in Orlando. But I'll keep you posted on what we're doing with that too. But yeah, we'll definitely be there. So hopefully we see you guys there. Lake Nona, Florida, October 18th, 19th, and 20th. Classes, vendor hall, one or the other. You don't have to do both. And there are passes available at the door. So I hope we see you there. And until then, or until I see you sooner, but I just don't know if I'm going to be able to carve out time. I end up talking to you guys, which is fun, but I haven't really been doing all my chores here. So I'm going to finish them, and then I'm going to see y'all later. Bye.